On the 28th of March, 2025, Amazon sent an email to millions of Echo owners. It was short, it was polite, and buried inside the legal language was something that should have made headlines everywhere. Amazon was removing the last option Echo users had to keep their voice data off Amazon's servers. No vote, no negotiation, just a notification that a decision had already been made. And if you did not know what local processing meant before that email arrived, you probably still do not know what you lost. This is not a story about one bad privacy update. This is a story about a trillion-dollar company that spent a decade building the most invasive private surveillance infrastructure ever placed inside American homes, device by device, default by default, update by update, while hundreds of millions of people called it a smart home. And the deeper you look at what Amazon has actually built inside your house, the worse this gets. Let's start with what happened in March. Amazon had a feature on certain Echo devices, the Echo Dot 4th generation, the Echo Show 10, the Echo Show 15, called Do Not Send Voice Recordings. It did exactly what it sounds like. When enabled, your voice commands were processed locally on the device. Nothing left your home. Users who cared about privacy specifically hunted this setting down and turned it on. It was not the default, which is already a problem worth remembering, but it existed. And on the 28th of March, 2025, Amazon killed it. The official reason? Alexa's new AI features the ones powering Alexa Plus. Amazon's subscription-based assistant upgrade require cloud computing power that the Echo hardware simply cannot provide locally. Amazon framed this as progress, as an inevitable step forward. But that framing deserves a harder look, because what Amazon is actually saying is this: we built an AI system so demanding that it cannot run on the device you already own, and in order to give you that AI, we need to take away the one privacy control you had. The privacy cost is mandatory. The AI feature costs $19.99 a month on top of that, unless you already pay for Prime. Amazon didn't ask if that was a trade you wanted to make. Amazon told you it was happening. That is the opening move. Now, Amazon does say that recordings are deleted after processing if you enable the Don't Save Recordings setting. State that clearly. Amazon says that, and here is the problem. That assurance is coming from the same company. The United States government fined $25 million in 2023 for failing to delete children's voice data when parents explicitly asked them to. The Federal Trade Commission and the Department of Justice charged Amazon with violating federal children's privacy law. The core allegation was not complicated. When parents asked Amazon to delete their kids' Alexa recordings, Amazon often kept the transcripts anyway. As a default, Amazon retained children's voice recordings indefinitely. The FTC's official characterization of this behavior was not buried in footnotes. They wrote that Amazon had a history of misleading parents and had sacrificed privacy for profits. That phrase, sacrificed privacy for profits, is in a federal government filing. It is not a critic's headline. It is the United States government's official account of what happened. And here is the part that should make every parent genuinely angry. An FTC commissioner noted that Amazon kept children's voice data indefinitely specifically to refine its voice recognition algorithm. Your child talked to Alexa about their homework, their day, their questions about the world. Amazon kept that data not because it was helping your child, but because your child's voice was useful training material. The kid was the product. And when parents tried to delete it, the deletion did not fully work. $25 million was the price Amazon paid. The data was already used. That was just the Alexa side. The Ring side is somehow worse. Ring is Amazon's home security camera company, acquired in 2018. Ring's marketing promise was simple and compelling. See your home, away from home, peace of mind, security, control. The FTC's 2023 complaint describes something rather different. Before July 2017, Ring gave its employees and third-party contractors, including a contractor in Ukraine, unrestricted access to every single customer's video library. Every customer. No restrictions, no technical limits, no procedural controls. Any employee or contractor could access any user's footage for any reason. Ring had no privacy training program before 2018. Zero. The company that marketed itself as protecting your home from intruders had built no guardrails against its own people being the intruders. And some of them were. One Ring employee viewed thousands of recordings from at least 81 female users between June and August 2017. The cameras he accessed were placed in bathrooms, in bedrooms. A fellow employee noticed and reported it. That initial report was not taken seriously. According to the FTC complaint, the supervisor only escalated the investigation after noticing the employee was specifically targeting, in the complaint's language, videos of pretty girls. That is not a data policy failure. That is a human failure enabled by a company that gave its employees the keys to your most private rooms and then wrote no rules about what they could do with them. Ring settled with the FTC for $5.8 million. By 2024, the FTC was sending refund checks totaling $5.6 million to affected Ring customers. The checks went out. The cameras are still in people's homes. And then the hackers. The FTC also alleged that Ring failed to implement basic security protections for years. Multi-factor authentication, a standard security feature, was not introduced until 2019. Before that, bad actors broke into Ring accounts and took control of camera streams. Some used those compromised cameras to sexually proposition users. Others threatened families for ransom. Some used Ring cameras placed in children's bedrooms to direct racial slurs at kids. These are documented FTC allegations in a formal legal complaint, not message board rumors. The company selling security was itself a security failure. But it is not just the cameras inside your home. Amazon found a way to use the cameras outside your home too, and for years, the program came with a partnership most Ring users had never consented to. Ring built a tool called the Request for Assistance. Through Ring's Neighbors app, over 2,500 police agencies across the United States could send requests directly to Ring users asking for their doorbell footage. At the program's peak, a police department could generate a post in the Neighbors app, and Ring users in a specific neighborhood would receive a request to hand over their footage. Privacy advocates spent years documenting the civil liberties concerns, the potential for racial profiling, the transformation of residential neighborhoods into ambient surveillance grids, the quiet deputization of homeowners as data providers for law enforcement, with none of the oversight or warrant requirements that would normally govern police surveillance requests. In January 2024, Ring announced it was discontinuing the Request for Assistance tool. Privacy pressure worked, or so it seemed. The announcement was covered as a win. Then Consumer Reports reported that Ring had quietly relaunched a nearly identical program, same mechanics, same function under a new name: Community Requests. The new version was built in partnership with Axon, the company that manufactures police body cameras and tasers, whose entire business model is built around law enforcement surveillance technology. Ring did not cancel the program. Ring rebranded it, found a law enforcement partner with deeper institutional credibility, and waited for the news cycle to move on. That is not a policy change. That is optics management. And Amazon can still provide Ring footage to law enforcement in emergency situations without a warrant, with Amazon itself deciding what counts as an emergency, with no court review required. So Amazon has access to your voice, your rooms, your front door footage, and now it wants access to your face. In late 2025, Amazon began rolling out a feature called Familiar Faces to Ring users across the United States. Familiar Faces uses AI-powered facial recognition to identify people who regularly appear at your door. Instead of a generic motion alert, users can receive a notification saying who is at the door by name or profile. The technology is framed as convenience. It is also a biometric database of every person who has ever approached a Ring camera, being built by Amazon, inside residential neighborhoods, without the knowledge or consent of the people being scanned. Amazon chose not to roll out Familiar Faces in Illinois, Texas, or Portland, Oregon. Those three jurisdictions have biometric privacy laws strict enough to result in serious litigation. This is not speculation about Amazon's motives. This is what the geography of the rollout reveals directly. Google paid the state of Texas $1.375 billion in 2024 for biometric data collection violations. Amazon clearly noticed. The 3 states where you can sue Amazon over face scans get a carve-out. Everyone else gets their face added to the database. In February 2026, a sitting United States senator sent a letter to Amazon's CEO demanding a pause on the rollout after public backlash to an Amazon Super Bowl ad promoting Ring's image recognition technology. The public reaction was enough to prompt a congressional letter. Amazon has not paused. 3 states would sue. Everyone else gets scanned. And all of this, the voice data in the cloud, the cameras in the bedrooms, the police footage access, the facial recognition is connected by something most Echo and Ring owners have never heard of. Something that turned their devices into nodes in a private Amazon network that now reportedly stretches across most of the country. Amazon Sidewalk launched in June 2021. It is a neighborhood mesh network. Amazon's Echo smart speakers and Ring cameras act as bridges, sharing a small portion of users' home internet bandwidth to create a low-bandwidth wireless network that can reach up to half a mile. The idea is that smart home devices stay connected even when home Wi-Fi is spotty, and that Amazon-compatible tracking devices can work across a wider geographic area than your home network covers. The pitch sounds fine. The implementation was not. Amazon turned Sidewalk on by default on every compatible Echo and Ring device in America. Users who did not want their home internet connection to become part of Amazon's neighborhood network had to find the setting and turn it off before the launch date. The American Civil Liberties Union formally documented this opt-out-only enrollment model as a threat to users' privacy rights, noting that Amazon decided to launch Sidewalk without consent from its users. Amazon confirmed that it collects data about third-party devices on users' home networks even when Alexa is not actively used to control them. Some users who tried to opt out reported finding themselves re-enrolled after subsequent device updates, though Amazon has not confirmed this as systematic behavior. One analysis from Commando estimates that Amazon Sidewalk now reaches approximately 95% of the United States through the combined footprint of Ring cameras and Echo speakers. That estimate is from third-party analysis, not Amazon's own data, but the underlying reality is confirmed. Amazon built a private mesh network across America, using hardware its customers bought and paid for, and the default setting was yes. Sidewalk does not just share bandwidth. It also extends the operational range of Amazon-compatible asset tracking devices. The Bluetooth trackers and location-finding gadgets that work on the Sidewalk network now have the reach of a countrywide infrastructure. Amazon can extend its location tracking capabilities through your home router. You funded the network. Amazon operates it. Voice gone to the cloud. Camera shutter gone from the new Echo Show models. Physical privacy shutter, the mechanical slider that actually blocked the lens, removed from the 2025 Echo Show 8 and Echo Show 11. Confirmed by multiple independent hardware reviewers who called it a privacy regression. Multiple publications, TechRadar, T3, Tom's Guide, The Ambient, all independently noting the same thing. In 2025, Amazon removed your voice privacy option and removed the physical button that blocked your living room camera. Amazon offers a software mute button instead. Tape works better than Amazon's built-in solution at this point, and that is not a joke. Police access is back. Facial recognition is rolling out. Your home internet is in Amazon's network. You know what the response to all of this looks like? It looks like a $60 box with a physical off switch. Home Assistant is a free, open-source smart home platform. It runs locally on your hardware, in your home, on a device you control. Nothing is sent to Amazon. Nothing is sent to Google. No subscription required. No cloud processing. No police footage partnership. No facial recognition database. No neighborhood mesh network using your bandwidth. Between 2024 and 2025, Home Assistant grew from 1 million active installations to 2 million. It was listed as one of the fastest-growing open-source projects in GitHub's 2025 Octoverse report. That growth happened in the same year Amazon removed local voice processing, removed physical camera shutters, and started charging for Alexa Plus. That is not a coincidence. That is a reaction. In December 2024, Home Assistant released the Voice Preview Edition, a $60 physical device that processes voice commands entirely locally, with no cloud dependency. It comes with a physical microphone disconnect switch hardware, not software, meaning the microphone is physically cut when you flip it, not just muted in software where Amazon could theoretically reverse the decision. The device offers 3 wake word options. In 2025, which the Home Assistant community called Year of the Voice, performance improved significantly. 12 hardware partners joined the Works with Home Assistant certification program that year alone, each committing to local first operation without cloud dependency. When Amazon's Alexa Plus upgrade broke devices that had been functioning reliably for years, Home Assistant certified devices kept working. Because local processing does not break when a company decides to change its cloud infrastructure, and local processing is faster. Under 50 milliseconds on Home Assistant with local hardware, compared to 300 to 800 milliseconds round trip on cloud-dependent platforms. Your smart home responds before the cloud even gets the request. And it keeps working when your internet goes down, when Amazon has a server outage, when a feature gets paywalled, when a subscription price increases. Your automations run on your hardware. No one is deciding when to discontinue them. Here is the honest part that every video like this needs. Home Assistant is not for everyone. It runs on a Raspberry Pi or a local server. It requires technical setup. It is not plug and play in the way that an Echo is plug and play. Amazon's ecosystem integrates with more than 130,000 Alexa skills and third-party devices. Home Assistant's library, while growing fast, is smaller. If you are a casual user who bought an Echo to set timers and play Spotify, Home Assistant is not a simple swap. That is true and worth saying. But here is what Home Assistant's existence proves, regardless of whether you ever use it. Local processing is technically possible. Privacy-first smart home design is technically possible. Hardware microphone switches are technically possible. Cloud-free automation is technically possible. A free, no subscription, no police partnership smart home platform is technically possible. The community of volunteers who built Home Assistant proved all of that, which means Amazon's choices, removing local processing, removing physical camera shutters, defaulting users into a neighborhood mesh network, building a facial recognition database, running a police footage program, keeping children's voice data past the point federal law allowed. Those were not technical requirements. Those were decisions. Amazon had other options. Amazon chose these ones. Reddit threads in R, Home Assistant and R. Amazon Echo have been full of users since March 2025, trying to understand what they lost and whether there is somewhere else to go. IT professionals who put Echo devices in waiting rooms and conference rooms started reading their vendor contracts for the first time. For HIPAA-regulated healthcare offices and professional services firms, mandatory cloud processing of all voice requests is not just an annoyance, it is potentially a compliance problem. Small business owners who had no idea what local processing meant in January 2025 had a very clear reason to care by the end of March. Privacy advocates, who had been raising flags about sidewalks since 2021 and about Ring's police partnerships for years, found their warnings moving from tech-adjacent blogs into mainstream coverage. None of these groups invented the concern. The FTC confirmed it. The DOJ confirmed it. Federal judges entered it into the record. So here is the full picture. Local voice processing, gone. Physical camera shutter, gone. Privacy promise for your kids, broken, until a federal fine forced Amazon to fix it. Your bedroom camera, accessible to Ring employees and contractors before the company had a single privacy training program. Your home internet, enrolled in Amazon's mesh network without your consent, opt-out only. Police footage access, ended and relaunched under a new name with a new law enforcement partner. Facial recognition at your front door, rolling out in every state that is not prepared to sue. And the AI that required removing the last privacy option you had, available for $19.99 a month. They took away your privacy to power an AI. Then they asked you to pay for the AI. This is not a series of mistakes. Amazon is not a careless company. It is one of the most operationally sophisticated organizations ever built. These are decisions. Some were made under regulatory pressure, some under privacy advocacy pressure, some in service of AI development, some in service of subscription monetization. Each individual decision had a defensible internal logic. But look at the cumulative result. A network of microphones, cameras, facial recognition systems, and bandwidth-sharing nodes inside hundreds of millions of homes, all connected to Amazon servers, all running on hardware that users bought, all generating data that Amazon controls, all governed by terms of service that users agreed to without reading, and that Amazon reserves the right to update with an email. Amazon built its smart home empire on convenience. The promise was always the same. Say a word, and your home responds. The friction of privacy was engineered out of the experience. Every default was set to minimize the effort of saying yes. Sidewalk on by default. Local processing off by default. Police footage partnerships opted in automatically. Facial recognition rolling out to devices users already own. The opt-out existed in every case. But finding it required knowing it existed, knowing where to look, and deciding the inconvenience of searching was worth it. Most people do not do that. Amazon knows that. The default is the product. Home Assistant exists. The $60 device with the physical microphone switch exists. Local processing exists. The escape hatch was always there. A community of volunteers built it without a budget, without a surveillance infrastructure, without a subscription paywall, and without a police footage program. They built it because they believed a smart home should belong to the person living in it. The real question is not whether Amazon's devices are useful. They are. The real question is whether the hundreds of millions of people who bought them understood what they were actually agreeing to, not at the moment of purchase, but across every update, every removed setting, every changed default, every new feature rolled out without a consent dialogue, every email sent to notify you of something that had already been decided. Is what Amazon has built inside your home a smart home? Or is it a subscription surveillance service you pay for with your money, your data, and whatever remains of your trust? Leave your answer below.